This is my 1989 Honda Civic DX hatchback. The issue that I'm having is that it's failing a smog test. It's failing at the 15 miles per hour test for the hydrocarbons. It's measuring at 135 and it should be at 110. It's also failing carbon monoxide. I'm measuring 1.98 and it should be 0.59. I'm suspecting that these aftermarket headers is causing the problem as far as not passing smog, because it's not hitting the exhaust hot enough. These aftermarket headers that I put on about 15 years ago, and I was able to get it passed through smog because there was a specialist at the Honda repair shop who knew how to pass these cars, heats up the engine, revs it high in order to get it to pass, and also change out the oxygen sensor, etc. Because the mechanic is no longer at the repair shop, I've decided to replace the aftermarket headers with the original headers that came with the car. I kept my original headers and also the piping, just in case something like this happens. The cast iron, as you can see, is heavier than the aftermarket headers. Here's the oxygen sensor located right here. In the aftermarket headers, I've got the oxygen sensor down below the car, maybe, right around this area. See my other video in which I show you how to remove and install the exhaust system. I changed over the exhaust system. The most important part was the exhaust manifold. After making the manifold change, I went to get a smog test. We've got dramatic improvements in our hydrocarbons. This is what I measured. For example, on the low speed, 15 miles an hour, I got 86, and the max is 110. So that's a dramatic improvement. And also the CO2, you could see I measured 0.16 and the maximum is 0.59. So there has been a dramatic improvement just by changing the exhaust manifold. The changeover to the stock manifold has reduced smog emissions. There's two reasons for this. One is the stock manifold is made out of cast iron in comparison to the aftermarket headers that I had, which were made out of rolled steel. The cast iron gets much hotter and burns up a lot of the exhaust emissions. Number two is that the oxygen sensor is located closer to the exhaust ports from the engine, and therefore it gets a better reading, and the exhaust fumes are more hotter and the emissions are burnt more efficiently compared to the aftermarket headers where the oxygen sensor is located further down on the headers.